What's going on? What's going on? How you guys doing?
Happy Monday.
Happy
everyone.
Monday. Happy Monday. It is June.
The
You
20th.
gotta look at the corner.
Because you caught me off guard. It is
look,
June.
I try to look at the corner of my eye. I try to look at it through my peripheral.
But you caught me off guard.
You gotta always be ready.
That's especially around you.
Yeah. You gotta always be ready because you never know.
It is Monday, June 20th, guys. You know what day it is.
It is
time
Sweet
for the
Spot Dog. I'm Reginald PM Sweet.
And I am Bernetta Sweet.
We are the Sweets, and this is the Sweet Spot, helping couples find
the sweet spot in your relationship.
And so we thank you guys for joining us today. We, as always, our weekend is not over until Monday night.
Right.
After
we
the show.
always look forward to ending our weekend with you all. So Thank you so much. We don't take it lightly that you join us every Monday. We see you hopping on. So let us know who you are.
Yes, talk to us. Let us know. Drop some comments wherever you're joining us from. Yeah. Let us know if this is your first time joining us. And let us know. And again, after the show, if you're watching the replay, we want you to hashtag replay. So when we go back and we watch, we can interact with you. We still interact with you. Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining us later. And also just having a chat. I'm noticing that some people, when they jump on later, they actually have conversations.
They have conversations.
And so we want, hey, Bishop, listen, man, listen. Pause. We stopping everything. We pausing everything. My bishop is on. Bishop Victor L. Power is on. We are so blessed to be graced by his presence. Oh my God, I didn't know Bishop was gonna be on tonight. Now I gotta act right, Bishop. Now I gotta act right.
Thank you, Bishop, for having on.
Now I gotta act right. You know when daddy show up, you gotta act right. You gotta act like you got some sense.
Thank you for me.
So now you want him to show up every week now, so I can act right every week.
So thank you guys. Kesia, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Miss Reddick is on. Thank you guys
Joyce
for joining us.
On. Thank you so much. Listen, we love when y'all interact with us. Listen, if you were on last week, you know that this is part 2.
This is part 2.
Thank you so much for joining us last week. And we know that because of the conversations and the interactions, we were getting inboxes all week long.
Absolutely.
For the conversation. So we know that this is a much needed conversation.
Right.
And it sparked a lot of interest and a lot of conversations.
A lot of conversations. So right before we get into that, right before we get in, guys, we gotta take this part right here that we always do in the beginning of the show. It's the sweet tidbit of the day. This is my tidbit.
It's always his tidbit.
It's always my tidbit.
Sometimes I agree. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know.
Listen, I don't know. I want to know. And this tidbit is specifically for the ladies. Okay. This tidbit says that women are more attracted to men with a strong sense of humor. They associate this trait with honesty and intelligence. Talk to me.
Yeah, I love your sense of humor. So yeah, I think that a man with a sense of humor is attractive.
Yeah.
You know, as long as it's not over the top.
Do you associate it with intelligence?
Yeah, they could be. Yeah.
Because sometimes you look at me like boy,
did you graduate?
Yeah, did you fall off the back of the turnip truck yesterday?
Did you
graduate? So and I'm quite funny. I'm quite the humorous guy.
Yeah.
You know, but do you connect the two, humor with intelligence?
Yes. Yeah. Sometimes, a lot of times. Sometimes not for you, not you.
Yeah, clean it up.
Not saying you, but yeah, it could go either way. Sometimes it's like yes, a little.
What about with honesty? Is there a connection in humor and honesty?
I don't know. I think that sometimes people can hide behind humor.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that some people can hide behind humor. So it could go either way.
Yep. So ladies, y'all want y'all to put y'all comments in.
So Laquilla said that. Yes, it is, but I don't associate it with intelligence.
So what she's saying is that sometimes this.
And she said, or honesty. She doesn't really associate it with intelligence or honesty.
Okay, Alicia Johnson says, she's tagging people. Thank you, Alicia.
Thank you guys for
tagging. Yes. Mama is on. Lord Jesus, my mama done jumped on Jesus. I got to show enough act right now. Now I got. You know what, man? I'm finna go. You can have the show by yourself.
All right, guys. So we are not going to prolong this. we are so excited about today's topic. Again, if you tuned in last week and you were able to see the conversation from the male's perspective on chivalry, right?
Right.
There was a wide array of views, right?
Yes.
And ladies, y'all were hopping off left or right. I was getting inboxes.
I was getting
inboxes from the phone. I was like, oh my gosh. And people were still watching the replays and inboxing.
Absolutely. So. But we wanted to have this conversation because what we are seeing now, we're seeing culture drive the thought process of young men as it pertains to relationships.
Right. And we're seeing certain expectations change, but we're also seeing the different perspectives, but we're also seeing the different changes in the household, and what the young ladies and what the young men are receiving as well.
Absolutely.
And we saw that last week with the difference in generations.
Yeah, because there was a gap in age. Not only a gap in age with the guests, but there was also a gap in where they were in their lives at that point. We had one who was married, who has a couple of kids, who just closed on a house, so they're dealing. They got bills, and then we have one who's a single guy, a little younger, so his perspectives were a little different. So we decided to have women on this week.
Right, absolutely. And so we wanted to be able to have this conversation because now what I did appreciate last week is the honesty, the transparency,
and that is going to transfer this week with these guests that we have.
Because what I say all the time is give me your honest you, and then you give me the opportunity to decide whether I want to absolutely
decide whether I want you on or not. So right now we have Ms. Detrell Hawkins. This is and it's gonna be funny with both of these guests because we had to act like we really don't know them.
We gotta interview them like
we gotta talk to them like we really don't know them, but we really do know them. So we have Mr. Detrell Hawkins. Hey Detrell, how are you?
Let's see.
Oh, okay. That's us. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Am I open? Am I out?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Hey everybody. Hey family.
Thank you for joining us. And along with Detrell, we have Miss
Miranda. How are you?
Hello. How are you all? Thanks for having me on the show. I'm excited.
Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you guys
accepting our invitation. I think I have been thanking you guys all week long, but we do thank you so much for joining us and accepting our invitation for this. And we have been excited all week long.
Yes, we've been excited about this one. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in. We're gonna let you guys introduce yourselves a little later and longer in the show. Tell people how to get in contact with you, what you guys do. Both of you guys are authors. Let me stop because both of you gotta act like I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. My bad. Digress. So let's go ahead and jump into the question.
So let me ask you the first question. Did you both did you watch last week's show, whether in person, or did you go back and watch last week's show?
And let's start with you, Detrell.
I definitely watched. I went back and watched the replay, and I've actually watched it several times, kind of rewinding to hear things again. And I gotta say, I just gotta say, I loved the show. I absolutely love the show. I'm with you, Bernetta, I can appreciate transparency and honesty. And as I'm listening to the perspectives of the guests that you had, I was intrigued. It was very interesting to hear some of the thought processes, and it actually brought somewhat of an awareness to me also. Mm-hmm.
What about you, Miranda?
Absolutely. I went back and watched the replay, and I must tell you, I had an absolute great time laughing a lot.
Me too. Yeah.
Laughing a lot. And saying, wow, how much some things have changed. So
absolutely.
And I appreciated the show so much, and that's why I'm so excited about today. So
thank you. We appreciate
so did you kind of understand the need for the conversation?
Based on how the show came about with the whole gas station and pumping the gas and the guy was in the car, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Listen, when I heard that story, I was almost like about to jump out my chair. Like, who is this girl? Did she get rid of him when she got home? Like,
right, as she was instructed to do by Mr. Quincy.
Absolutely.
Right.
To kick him out of the car.
So now it's almost like I want to find her and find out, like,
you want to find more
about her, right?
Yes.
Now the funny part about it was that some of the views that were expressed, we had people who had joined us who were on both sides of the coin. So that leads us to our first question with you guys, and baby, you can start with whoever you want to start with. Okay. Do you think the idea of chivalry has changed with generations? Why and why not?
So Miranda, we'll start with you. Do you think that this has changed with generations?
I'm gonna definitely say absolutely. I do. This is the thing. Of course, you know, everything isn't necessarily taught. So we don't want to just automatically put everyone in a box as if, you know, they were taught chivalry. So, for example, when I first moved from Chicago to Albany, and I was enrolling my daughter into the elementary school here, we had the privilege of meeting this young lady by the name of Ann Weathers. And a lot of people in Albany will know who Ann Weathers is, Mrs. Ann Weathers. We went into the admission office, and my daughter was 6 years old, and she was always raised to be very polite and all of that. But in Chicago, we never said ma'am. So when she was addressing Miss Weathers was asking her a question, and she would say yes, and Miss Weathers would say ma'am, and she said, excuse me, and she said yes ma'am, and my daughter and I both was like, okay, what's going on here? In Chicago, as long as you say yes and no, you are considered being respectful. In Chicago, that just wasn't our culture to have to say ma'am or sir. But Miss Ann Weathers made sure that although it wasn't taught to my daughter, it was caught. So as far as chivalry goes, it may have not been taught, but right now, some of our young men need to catch it. So it may have not been taught, but it needs to get caught. So
absolutely.
That's on that.
Yeah, that was a great. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And because I'm from Philadelphia,
and I'm from Massachusetts,
and it's the same thing.
Oh, wow.
You know, when I was taught that you know, just saying yes or no was good enough. It was respectful, and I remember getting hit in the hand with a ruler in third grade for not saying yes, ma'am, and you know, eventually I caught it.
Your hands,
my hand was burning
like the clumps. Your hands are like the clumps. Detroit, what about you? I want you tackle that one for us. Do you think chivalry has changed with the generations? Why and why not?
Oh, absolutely. I think the idea of chivalry has changed because when you think about societal norms, they're dynamic, right? Constantly changing. And so if societal norms impact our thinking as it relates to chivalry, it makes sense that things have changed because things aren't like they were in my mama's day or my grandmother's day. Things are different as far as how we think, what we expect, what we desire, what we want. Women and men walking shoulder to shoulder in a lot of instances, though it seems now, as opposed to the images that we had even in the past of women like following her man. That whole image now would be rejected by a lot of women. Societal norms have changed so much, so sure that the idea of chivalry has changed, but I don't believe that chivalry is dead, because if you think about chivalry in the sense of men, when I think about it, I wrote something down that as I was thinking this thought, if chivalry today, when you talk about defining it, is about loyalty, courtesy, honor toward women, respect, then I don't think chivalry is dead. I do, though, believe and absolutely agree that the whole idea and concept of chivalry has changed.
It's on life support. I feel like it's on life support. I
You
feel
think
like
it's on
chivalry
life
is on life
support?
support. Yeah. And only because, and I feel like that only because I have 3 sons, and I hear their conversations, and as they have been taught to do certain things as young men, they are almost like the minority now. They are almost like the outcast. They're almost like the ones that are out looking in because they do open the door, because they do say yes, ma'am. They say no, ma'am, because they do, as we mentioned last week, one of our sons planned a picnic and he was called a simp for that.
So Reginald, let me ask you a question. Are those acts the only acts of chivalry? When you think of it, let me tell you. So I was talking to my daughters today. That's why I asked you that. And I said, when you think of chivalry, what do you think of? Tell me what does that mean to you? Because I really wanted to know. And I asked a few other people, like, what does chivalry mean to you? A man being chivalrous? Is it just him opening the door? Is it him pulling out your chair? Are those the only acts of chivalry when you think of chivalry? And so, of course, they said no. When it comes to chivalry, I don't just think about opening doors or pulling out chairs. One of them, as a matter of fact, says a chivalrous act of a man to me is respecting my thoughts or opinions and allowing me to have one that may be different from his without rejecting it. And so, I guess when you start thinking about, what are the chivalrous acts? What actions define a chivalrous man?
I think that goes. I think for me, it's from man to man and what he's been taught, what chivalry is. But I do also think that there is like a blueprint, or there's like a backdrop of what chivalrous acts are. And so they are added into and they're taken away from as the individual grows up and his influences. For me, like being chivalrous for my wife is doing the laundry. Like,
there you go.
I think that's chivalrous for me. That she doesn't have to pick up a basket full of clothes. I mean, that's just me. But however, though, I think it's up to us as men to teach our sons what chivalry really is.
At least the basics.
One of my sons didn't even know what the word was. He was like, "Huh? What you mean, Dad? What you mean? What chivalry?" So I had to explain to him what it was, and then he was like, "Oh, I do that." So I do think that there are more acts of chivalry, chivalrous acts. I just believe that there's a backdrop of basic things, like you were saying, opening the door, holding the umbrella over your head, not over mine if it's raining, things of that nature. So that leads us to the next question, Miranda. Let you jump on this one first. Do you fear requiring chivalrous behavior takes away from a woman's independence?
Well, absolutely not. This is the thing for me. In a way, the whole independent thing is kind of taken out of context to a degree, because most women loves a man who wants to feel like he's needed to some regard, and most kingly men loves a woman who makes him feel needed. So I believe in interdependence, not necessarily being independent. Oh yes, I can definitely, if I have to be independent, but can we do this together? Can we work together here? So I'm gonna say that serving a woman isn't taking away your independence, no less than being served as a woman isn't taking away any of my independence.
Love it.
That's good. That's good. Let's pause for a second, guys. Listen, we got people that the chat is blowing up.
Lit.
It is on fire. It is on fire. Tamika Mathis says, I agree, chivalry is not taught to everyone, but you can be open to it and not think it's old fashioned. When people hear chivalry, they think it's so bad. But if you actually tap into it, you'll be surprised how you can actually make someone's day. I agree with that. I'm gonna go because we got to definitely make sure. And Bishop, I'm gonna give you the opportunity, Bishop, if you want to jump on to send you the invite. You can jump on screen if you want to, sir, because we always want to hear from our Bishop.
Yeah, so we'll send you the link.
We'll send you the link.
Bishop, just let us know.
Yeah. Bishop says it must be taught. He says he also adds respect, honor, and serving as to chivalry. We have Anate on. Anate says that she agrees with everything. Timothy Leon says, exactly. From what I remember in class, there are two sides to chivalry: a medieval code for the knight and gentleman, and a code for the lady. I believe that the standard of honor has to be held on both sides. I hold doors open, but at least say thank you. It goes a long way.
Absolutely. Listen,
somebody need to say thank
you. You know what? When he said that just struck a nerve in me, because with my daughters, I always say if a young man holds a door open for you, I'm like, you better turn around and say thank you. You better not walk through that door and not look back and acknowledge and be respectful and honorable toward him. And so I'm with Timothy Leon. Listen, that has always been my stance.
We go places now, and my husband will open the door for me, and I'll turn around and say thank you. And then there'll be another woman right behind me that will just walk through like it was, like this is what you're supposed to do. And I'd be like, wait a minute.
I'd be catching you a look over your shoulder.
I'd be looking like, dang, I said thank you to my own husband. Can you at least say thank you?
Listen, I like this one from Monet. Monet said, don't let our independence fool you. We love a man who leads.
Absolutely. That's my baby right there, y'all. That's mine.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. My cousin, Kismet, she says, I don't want to be independent and strong all the time. Let my man handle it.
Exactly.
I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it.
So Bishop said, that's good, Monet. A man who leads.
A man who leads. Now, here's the deal with the man who leads. As men, we have to give the women something to follow. We can't expect a woman to follow us if we're not giving them something to follow. So if we're going to lead, and again, we can't be situational leads. We can't pick and choose what we want to lead in. We want to lead when it comes to getting in the car driving. We want to lead when it comes to how we spend the money, but we don't want to lead to when it comes to sitting down and hearing your heart and hearing your spirit and coming together as one. We don't want to lead that. I'm the man.
Right.
I'm the man. So yeah, we got to give y'all something to lead. We got to give y'all something to follow. Let's go ahead to the third question, baby. We'll go into the no, because we need Miranda.
What was the question? No, Miranda, I think responded to that question.
I just responded to that question there. So
do you feel that requiring and expecting chivalrous behavior takes away from your independence? Is the trails on the trail?
Yes.
That it takes away from my independence as a woman?
Yes.
No, and I absolutely believe that expressing your desires and needs and wants as it relates to what you require, what you desire from your mate or the person that you are with. When you talk about having that expectation, having an expectation as it relates to chivalry, I definitely don't think it takes away from my independence, but it also establishes now this boundary, if you will, or desire or expectation in the relationship. This is what I desire. This is what is feels like honor and service and respect. This is, and I think we need to say that and not just expect a man to do something. Because as she said, a lot is not taught, is caught, but there's a lot of things that aren't taught that your mate just doesn't know. Because when we think about culture, what's happening in the culture as it relates to chivalry? And so if your mate is highly impacted by the culture and never even saw these examples of chivalry in the home or in within his culture, his community, then how can he respond without knowing the expectation? So expecting it does not take away from my independence, but definitely even expressing it. I like a man who opens the door for me. I desire for you to, to put the umbrella over me. I want you to, and I'm gonna move in close to you to make sure you cover too. You know what I'm saying? So just to maybe to put it out there. I think a lot of times we may be expecting something that they never seen.
So Bishop says, teach our daughter to expect, respect, honor, and service.
Yes.
Absolutely. There's a question that was posed here. Do we teach the man as women, or do we just simply move on? Anyone can answer that. What do you think?
I think you have to tell people, and you all talk about it all the time on the Sweet Spot. You got to tell people what you want and what you need. And I can use my marriage for an example, because my husband had this expectation. You talked about gender roles, and so the gender roles that we had in our marriage, especially when we first got married, we were so young, were based on what we had seen in our homes. He saw his mama take care of everything, do everything, handle everything, because he came from a single parent home. And so it was an unconscious expectation that I would work, take care of the children, take care of the house, make sure things was clean, be ready for him when he was ready for me. He would go to work and come home, and what else? Do not much else. And there came a point in our relationship where I says, wait, because I didn't have the mindset, the consciousness, or the awareness to have this conversation for many, many years. And then I came to a point where, like, wait, I'm absolutely burnt out over here. I'm tired. I'm taking care of children. I'm cooking dinner every day because this is what I saw my mama do. So I cooked every day. My house was always immaculate. Everything was always clean. I'm working 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, because we not only was I working, we had a business. And so I'm doing all of these things and I'm burnt out. And we had this conversation one day, and I said, these gender roles, we need to re-examine this. Let's sit down and talk about this. I got to tell you what I need from you, where I may need more support. And it may be because I took that initiative to just do everything, that I think sometimes people say you don't give him the opportunity to be the man or the opportunity to lead. But again, his whole thought about it was, he said, I saw my mom do everything, so I really never even thought about what you might need from me, other than, me to pay the bills.
Right. That was good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Miranda, what do you think? What are your thoughts?
So let's repeat the question one more time, because I got so intrigued what she was saying about
absolutely.
And when she first got married.
Yes. Do we teach the men as women, or do we simply move on?
Okay, so I'm glad that question was raised, because earlier today I was thinking about how oftentimes especially the young girls that I mentor now in this generation, they typically, they don't do that now. So the guys don't do that. So it is what it is. In my opinion, going back to, some things weren't taught, but they can be caught. So if a gentleman may not know, if he's never known to open the door for you, like, for example, I remember when my daughter went out on her first date, she didn't know that I was standing in the window waiting for them to pull up, because I wanted to see if this joker was going to open up the door for my baby. I'm waiting. I'm saying, okay, is she about to get out herself, or is he going to get out the car first and walk around? So I'm sitting in the window waiting for them to pull up. And thankfully, he got out the car and he opened up the door for her. So in my opinion, yes, you can definitely if he doesn't know, you can say, hey, baby, whatever you call him, boo thing, whatever. Sweetheart, I know that you don't open up my door for me.
Right.
I really like that. Would you mind
Exactly.
opening up the door for me? Now,
Yeah.
if he's a distinguished gentleman, he'll say, oh wow, baby, I never even thought about that. Yeah, I'll open up the
Exactly.
door for you.
Yep.
Right.
But if he's not
Yep.
a distinguished gentleman, because chivalry may not be for everybody. We can't assume that it is.
Mm-hmm.
Chivalry may not, the acts of doing chivalrous things may not be for everybody.
Right.
It's for distinguished gentlemen, in my opinion.
Mhm.
So if he's a distinguished gentleman, although he may not know it, if you express, baby, this is what I like. This is what I need.
Yes.
You know, then maybe he'll catch on real quick and start doing those things. So even if he doesn't know.
So I gotta let you know that you just embarrassed your baby. She's like, oh my God, so embarrassing.
but that is what you just said was so important, because I know when Bernetta and I first got together, we were married. There were certain things that I did not even give her an opportunity to ask. I asked her. I would just randomly say, baby, what do you expect? What do you want? What do you want? And because I knew the way that I was raised, you know, and I knew what I saw coming up, and even and this not being a secret, that this being my second marriage, I did not want to take the behaviors of the previous marriage, the detrimental behaviors. I didn't want to take those behaviors and bring them into this marriage. So I knew one of the things that I had to do was ask questions and not assume that just because I did it in this first marriage that it will work in this marriage, because she was different. She was not the same person that my ex-wife was. So I had to ask, what do you like? What is it that you want? What is it that you expect from me? And I feel like as a husband, if I'm trying to make sure that we're always on the same page, then it's my job, it's my duty to make sure, hey, what do you think? Because over time, sometimes expectation changes. Right. You know, when we first get together, you know, her expectation might not be a certain thing, but as we grow older, we get to know each other. We become more familiar with one another. Maybe those expectations change.
Absolutely. So, guys, I do have another question. Were you about to say anything?
I was just going to say, for me, and I absolutely agree that it can be taught. It's not, you know, you don't just walk away. But for me, it's all about, what does it take? What actions can I take that make you feel valued, respected, protected, and honored? When you think about chivalry and how I serve you, and how I serve you, what is it that makes you feel valued, protected, respected, and honored?
Absolutely.
Bishop makes a great point. Bishop says we must teach our boys and men what being a real man is about. We spend a lot of time on our daughters, but we let our boys learn by default.
That was heavy. That's heavy. So, Bishop, are you sure you don't want to get on?
I know, right? I'm about to send you this camera to you now.
So maybe for the last maybe 10 minutes, you'll feel.
We'll let them let them close out the show.
Oh, that's awful.
So Marcus has a question. He said, have the men failed more? And this goes back kind of like what Bishop said. Have the men failed more to teach their sons chivalry? Or have the women failed more to teach their daughters to demand chivalry?
Miranda, what you say about that one?
Okay, that's a great question. It wasn't Marcus.
Yes, Marcus. He said not trying to find blame, just a conversation.
What a great question,
Marcus.
So I'm gonna say both, right? I'm gonna say both because yes, some of us may have missed the mark as far as some of the fathers may have missed the mark. Some of the parents, even mothers, teaching their daughters to demand demand chivalry. So I look at it like this: if a man if this guy is a distinguished gentleman, going back to that, then he would definitely want to do it. A lot of the fathers have not taught our boys this. So automatically, if you've never seen it, if you've never been taught it, and you're dating a young lady who is accustomed to it, similar to my daughter. My daughter was accustomed to her father opening up the door. I would tell her when I dated her father in high school, her father was the one who set the bar. Now, my father, hands down, I'm a daddy's girl, by the way. My father, hands down, showed me how to be treated as a woman, as a young lady. So my high school sweetheart, when I got with him, he was hands down a chivalrous young guy. Mm-hmm. Some of the things that like I was telling Miss Bernetta this yesterday. I said, I used to call her Miss Sweet. So Miss Sweet, I was telling Miss Sweet this yesterday. I said, my dad actually, he set the bar. He taught me what it was like to how a man's supposed to treat me, how a guy's supposed to treat me. But one thing that was so interesting that I never knew, because my dad always, wherever we went, we were always in a car together. I was with Monae's dad, and he said, babe, get on this side of me. And I said, okay, but why? He said, because if a car decides to run up on the curb, the car needs to hit me, not you. And I said, oh, okay.
So, you that type of thing.
Come on. When I tell you, her father, Monae's dad, is the one who set the bar. He set the standard for anyone who I dated after him, because I'm saying we're teenagers. And he never blew a horn for me, which he knew Charlie Weisinger would come out the house and ask him, who the blank you think you blowing a horn for coming to pick my daughter up. He never blew a horn for me to come outside. So this whole texting right now, hey girl, hey boo, I'm outside, and you run outside because he's texting you saying I'm outside. And you can call it old-fashioned or old school or whatever you want to call it, but a distinguished gentleman want to go to the door and say, hey baby, I'm here, you ready?
Right.
So yeah, that's my take on it. That's my take on it. So
I remember when our youngest got ready to go to a dance, and I drove him to the young lady's house to go pick her up. I think he might have been in the 8th, 9th grade, something like that. And he picked up the phone and was getting ready to text. And I was like, oh, I freaked out. I was like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Like, I have totally failed you. Like, what are you doing right now? And so he was like, well, I'm letting her know I'm here. If you don't get your butt out this car, go to that door and knock on the door. And then I'm thinking, like, where did I go wrong? Where have I failed this dude right here?
You sound like me. Sound like me.
Yeah.
Where did I fail it? Yeah.
So, the trail, right before you give us your answer, we have our cousin Lauren who's on. We appreciate you being on, Lauren, and we're gonna put his comment up. He says, not fair to have expectations from before until the new person. From last week's conversation, not everyone feels the same way about gender roles and chivalry. Discuss what's wanted and needed. Do what's expected for that relationship. If you pay attention, then we can please each other in the way we would like. I agree.
Absolutely.
I agree. It's always about having that conversation of what you expect.
Yeah, this is so Lauren, my cousin Lauren and Reginald, like, they rarely agree on stuff. So like I'm taking this moment in at this time. Remembering this moment.
Tamika say, she said, I'm not a drive-through. You better knock on my door.
I like that. I like that.
I love
it. She said she is not a drive-through. So what do you say? What do you say, Detrell? Do you think there is the responsibility lies on either or? We're failing our sons and not teaching them, what chivalry is and how to be chivalrous, or moms and dads for that matter,
Right.
are not teaching their daughters to demand and expect.
It, yeah.
So I think on the side on the side of the men is that they will instill the value, that of chivalry, the expectation, and teach them by example, right? Teach them by example. And on the other side of that, when you think about women not holding men accountable by demanding, if you will, if you want to use that term, or setting that expectation, should not though change if it is a value. If it is a value of the man. I don't care what. So some people say like, what woman, because women don't hold men accountable or hold men to a standard, that men do things the way they do. But I question the value, because when you have a value that governs what you do it.
You do it.
You know what I'm saying?
You do it.
I mean, sure, we can be influenced, because I mean, I've seen and I've heard from my nephews about girls who will reject them opening the doors. Like, I can get the door my own self. Does that stop you from opening the door for the next woman who you deem, I want to honor all women and be respectful to women and serve women in this way? Does that stop you from doing it? Then no. So it's all about the value. I think that men teach our boys. I think that their example, their leading, helps to instill that value and give them, the demonstrate that quality. But
absolutely,
demonstration.
Absolutely.
Bishop said this subject is rich. Fatherlessness in our homes is a major issue.
Yes,
it is.
It's a major issue. I tell people all the time, for my kids, my adults now, that for my sons, I want to be an example to my sons, but I want to be an example for my daughter. I want to be an example to my sons. I want my sons to mirror my actions, and as it pertains to how I treat their mom, how do I lead the household. But I want to be an example for my daughter, because I want her to look at the same example and say, I want a man like my dad.
Yeah.
And so what that does is it holds me accountable in how I treat you. It holds me accountable on how I do the things that you expect for me to do. Not necessarily being chivalrous, but even those things outside, like the chair was saying, even the things outside of what is labeled chivalrous.
Right. Because there were some things that I never even thought of, like my husband pumping my gas. I haven't, and I say this humorously, like someone was saying something about the cost of gas, and I was like, I really don't even know what the cost of gas is, because I don't go to the gas station, to really see what the cost of gas is. And someone looked at me crazy, and they was like, what? I said, my husband, when I get home, I'll just go in the house and say, babe, my car is, my car needs gas. And then he'll go and take care of it. And so I really honestly do not know what the cost of gas is at the gas station, because he pumps the gas for me. I haven't done laundry in 4 years. And that was just something that he wanted to take away from me. He's like, I don't want you to have the burden. I think that he don't like the way I fold clothes. So that may not be the chivalry part of it.
I mean, that's part of the reason you don't fold clothes right. You don't hang them up right.
Like, he's so meticulous that he likes it done a certain way. So I was like, oh,
that is funny.
That's funny, right? So Reginald, if that's the standard for chivalry, we want more men folding clothes, right?
Right. Absolutely. And I ain't scared to tell them. I'll tell them. I express the way I feel. Yeah. I'm not scared. So listen, this next question, guys, I'm really interested in hearing your response to this question, because when my wife and I, when we first got together, one of the things she expressed to me was that in the past, when she expressed her non-negotiables, when she expressed her boundaries, when she expressed her values and what she stood for and what she wanted in a relationship, she was labeled
as difficult,
high maintenance. Can't nobody deal with you, So with that being said, Detrell, what advice would you give a young lady who has expressed her expectations of chivalrous behavior or just her boundaries and values, and she receives the backlash of being difficult.
Or being labeled as difficult.
Being labeled as difficult. Well, first off,
you know the words that they throw out.
Yeah, I do know the words that they throw out. But you know what I tell my daughters and any young lady that I'm speaking to, that your values should govern your actions and your expectations. And so when you have a standard by which you govern your life, then you do not have to lower that standard or dismiss it or give it up for anyone. It's like, it's kind of like this right here. You know, the person who can't afford the Rolls Royce is not going to pull up to the Rolls Royce dealership, and so this just isn't the person for you if they cannot respect and honor your values, your boundaries, and your expectations. They're not the one for you. You know, they're not the one for you. Now you have to have definitely a level of confidence and self-awareness and knowing who you are, that you won't lower your standard, that you won't, dismiss, your beliefs and your values,
right?
Just to be with somebody, or to connect with them. And so it's all about knowing who you are, honoring and valuing and respecting who you are, not lowering your standards.
Absolutely. Yeah. Miranda?
Well, I'm gonna say this first and foremost. What a lot of us as single women don't get is it's okay. It's okay to be by yourself. It's okay. It's okay to have a season of being alone, rather than being in a relationship where a man won't respect and value your values. My broken relationship was because we had difference of values. We had a different value system. So I'm accustomed to this way because my father taught me that this is what should be done. This is how it should be done. And it's okay if we don't have the same value system, then maybe we aren't for one another. So first thing is, they can call you difficult. They can call you high maintenance. I'm sure, not just me, but my baby. Oh my God, she's probably been called more than me, and because of her age,
right.
She's probably been called more than me. So difficult, high maintenance, or whatever, it is okay. I don't believe that any woman, any young lady should ever compromise what she believes and how she believes she should be honored and respected. Let's throw out the word chivalry for those who may want to just tag it as, that's old fashioned, that's whatever. Let's call it being nice. Let's call it being courteous. Let's call it being honorable to the person who you want to be in a relationship with. For example, my king and I were out, and I have a heavy duty purse. So I have a purse in a purse, and I needed something out of the purse in the purse. So I'm digging in my purse, and he decides to grab the heavy duty purse and carry the heavy duty purse while I'm trying to find what I needed to find in the smaller purse. Yeah. And a couple was walking toward us, and the lady said, oh, "That's so sweet. That's so sweet." And her husband said, "See, here you are messing it up for everybody. Now you messed it up for everybody." So it wasn't just because he doesn't think I'm being difficult. It's because he values what I value. And that's okay. That's okay. And it hey,
It's all
like I
about
said,
value.
let's throw chivalry. Let's throw the word chivalry out.
Mm-hmm.
If you honor, if you respect that woman, if you love that woman, you want to be courteous to her.
Yeah.
You want to show that, hey baby, you don't have to do it on your own. You don't have to struggle. Something as small as me looking in my purse trying to find something, and he decides to grab the bigger bag to carry that bag for me. So we're walking down this we were in a mall area, and the restaurant happened to be a little ways away, but this couple noticed that, and the guy was like, you messing it up for everybody. Now you messing it up for everybody. So yeah, it's okay. Going back to what I said originally, it's okay to be by yourself for a season. It's okay to not compromise.
I like that. And even what you said, throw the word chivalrous out, because many men may not even see that. You mentioned your baby. I wanted to put a comment that your baby said. She said, my single season is a blast. I'm having a great time learning grown women Monet. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
What?
She's not gonna settle, that's for sure. She
Right.
Like I said, she has probably been called quite a few things. She's not gonna settle.
Yeah. Alicia Johnson, she said, and I won't expect anything from man that I can't do for myself. So it's not difficult. He just don't want to step.
What I think? I this is what I think. I agree. I think just like the statement that we say, people make time for what they want. Then I think if a man, I think one of the things Miranda just said was real important was if he values what I value. He values what I value. If I value what you value, then me stepping up to the plate and meeting your expectations is not a difficult task.
Right.
As a matter of fact, it's not a task at all. It's part of the plan. It's a part of the plan. It's a part of, I make it. I interact, and I weave that into what my plan is every day. So it's not a task. It comes natural.
I want to tell you this statement. Marcus said that this is from his wife, that women need to just start standing there and waiting at the door. We're not going in a restaurant, and we're not leaving until this door is open.
Well, everybody in the culture and in the society is not going to open that door. So we might
tell your wife she might need to prepare. Well, not your wife, because you'll open the door. But for the other ones, they might be prepared to go get a snack, because they might be out there till the play closed. And listen, I told my daughter early on, I think I had this conversation with her when she was around 12. And I told her, I said, sweetheart, all men are not raised the same. All men are not raised the same. So you have to set your standards, set your non-negotiables, just set your boundaries and your values, and you stick to them. Because all men are not raised the same. All men, there are some men who gonna sit there with you.
Right.
And they be like, oh, you gonna open the door for me?
And that's the same conversation that I had with my sons, is that all women were not, raised the same. And so even when you explain, you display this behavior, it may not be accepted by every person.
Right. And
it's okay. That person may not be for you. And Miranda, I think that we've had the same conversation with my son, is it's okay to have a single moment. It's okay to be by yourself. If this person is not for you, and I think that this conversation has not had enough, even with our sons, is that if this person is not for you, you don't have to stay there just for the sake of having someone. It's okay for you to move on.
Right.
Your values align. It's the alignment of those values.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
I agree.
It is. When your values align, then we can talk about this. We can actually come to an agreement and an understanding. We can get to that place of agreeing and serving each other.
Right.
Yeah. So Bishop said, not a task to simply be kind.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that shouldn't be. Oh my Lord,
that's not hard.
Well, how we just make being kind hard?
Right.
Nice heart. One more, and then we'll go back to the questions. Lauren says, if a young lady is not in alignment with my values, it's cool. She's just not for me. I'll make sure to speak to you at church and keep
Have a blessed day.
Have a blessed day.
Yes. We have to learn how to keep it moving. We don't have to be offended. We don't have to go off and, call people names and all that. Like, okay, can we just move on?
Right.
And be amicable and,
Right.
and be like,
right.
okay,
right.
Good. You've saved me some time.
Right. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So this is kind of veering off.
Okay.
Veering off a little bit.
If y'all don't know, my husband likes to veer off. So
well,
hold on tight.
As we talk, we have an outline of the questions that we have, but then there's something. But again, I said that was the last one. But every time Bishop posts,
Miranda Trell is used to him veering, so now you're going to experience the veering.
every time Bishop posts, I gotta, because it's just Bishop says we must teach our young people to date for observation, not simply feeling. Values observing to determine if we can truly connect.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good.
That was good.
To see if we truly connect. See, and listen, and I'm gonna tell you just how important that is. What Bishop just said about observing. I tell people all the time that there was a period of about a year where my conversation with my wife was real minimum, and we talked about it later. And I told her, I said, I'm taking this. She said, well, why wasn't the conversation? You just weren't talking. And I told her, I said, I was watching you. I was observing you. I can tell when my wife comes home how she puts the keys down or how she puts her purse down, what kind of day she's had, because I've watched her. I've observed her movement. I observed her actions. I just watch her and I see she'll tell you. I ask her, baby, how was your day? It was good, whatever. And she wouldn't give me anything else but that. And I can tell about her response, the tone in her voice, the inflection, how it goes. I can tell, baby, what's wrong?
It's funny because he texted me the other day and I was at work.
This was through a text message. She didn't even say nothing to me.
I was at work and I think I responded in maybe 1 or 2 word answers. And next day I knew my phone was ringing. And he said, what's going on? This is not the way that you normally respond to me. This is not, And I was like, it's through text. How do you know how I responded to you?
Because I know you woman.
But I realized that, yes, he knows even the way that I text. Because he called, he was like, what's wrong? And I was like, what? He was like, no, because this is not the way you normally text me. And so, yes, something was going on with me at work. And I told him what was wrong. And he immediately picked up on it. And I this was the first time that I've ever been in a relationship where someone studied me, where they knew based on my reactions, based on my text, based on different things like that. And I loved that. I loved that part of it, that I did not have to go into this dialogue where I got to go through this dissertation on how I'm feeling and what went on. And I could just simply say, today was a rough day. Mm-hmm. And based on that, he knows, how to respond based on that. So that has been
so.
Oh my gosh!
Stop it, Reggie. So listen. Can we talk about that just for a minute? That's a whole nother show. And when you talk about observation, now who teaches their young children, who teaches their teenagers or whomever when they start dating? Who's talking about observing as opposed to being just absorbed in those feelings?
Right.
Who's talking about that? And we're not. Are we talking about this at home? Like I heard people say, look at how he treats his mama, or how he talks to his daddy, or how he treats his sisters. But there's a whole lot more to observe when we're talking about understanding and if our values align. I think even before we can do that, we got to talk about what are your values.
What are your
values? Dear daughter, dear son, let's talk about your values. And when you start connecting with other people and how you will, based on what your values, make an observation to understand if y'all even in proper alignment, if you guys can really walk together and agree. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I was going to ask another question, but Brandon asked a great question, and Miranda, I would love for you to chime in on this one. He says, as a chivalrous man, how do we deal with a woman who may not be accustomed to the acts of service and may be in defense mode due to previous relationships?
That's a great question. Oh my gosh, she doesn't know what she's missing out on. She does not know what she's missing out on. And I understand, I get it that some of our women and our young girls aren't accustomed to a man that treats them with honor. Yeah. I get it, and I feel deeply for our women and young girls who have never had the opportunity to experience that. Sir, if I may, Brandon, you are definitely going to meet someone who is going to value the fact that you value being chivalry. I'm sure, I would hope that if you're dating a woman who's not accustomed to it, that she would fall in love with the fact that you're being honorable to her. I would hope. I did hear a story though about a gentleman who was trying to they were at a restaurant and the salad bowl came to the table and he attempted to put the salad on her plate, and she said, I don't need that now that right there, I don't need a man putting food on my plate for me. And I said, what? Okay, you can put the food on my plate. My hands work. They work perfectly fine. But if you want to show that the salad has come and you want to put the salad on my plate before you put it on your plate, go right ahead, distinguished gentlemen. Yeah. So one day, whoever you meet, there's plenty of women out there that would love the chivalry, Brandon. There's plenty of women. So, and if she likes you, hopefully she will honor the fact that you want to be chivalrous to her and honor her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was great.
And Detroit, I'm gonna let you jump on that as well. But I like this comment. She said that used to be me, but with God's help and my boyfriend's patience, I'm coming along, and that is so key. The patience.
Yeah.
The patience. Yeah. One of the things.
Thank you for your transparency too, Kanisha.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Yes. One of the things that I knew that helped us along was me being patient. Mm-hmm. I have the patience of Job, I think, sometimes, where stuff I just sit there and I just wait. I wait till it transpires. I wait till it comes to fruition. And I knew that I loved you. And I knew that the things that I had to be patient with, I knew the things that I loved about you outweighed the things that I had to be patient with.
Oh yeah, because I was a piece of work. This was my barriers were up, my walls were up. I was suspicious of almost everything he was doing. I was like, no, this ain't right, dude. And you're a poet. Like, yeah, this is not.
Right.
Everything aligns. Everything lies around here.
That sounds like a poem right there. No,
who you done wrote that to?
Right.
Trying to tell me.
Exactly. You know what?
But I knew being patient. was going to pay off. Yeah. Because who you were outside of the things that I had to be patient about was so good. It was so great. That I was like, okay, I'll wait you out, partner.
And I had to learn to communicate that. Like, I had been through certain things and I had to learn how to communicate with him. Like, okay, yes, I appreciate that. It just looks like I've seen this before. I've seen people pretend before. I've seen, all of this. And so I had to learn how to be honest about certain things, and I had never experienced it. And I told him this, I had never experienced some of this before. Mm-hmm. So yes, I'm loving it. I just don't know how to accept it yet. Let me learn how to get used to this. Let me learn, because number one, I was single. I had, been divorced, and I was a single parent. And so I was used to doing everything on my own. I was used to, making things happen. I was used to, doing everything on my own. So having a man to come in and say, let me take some of this off your plate. I've been handling my plate pretty well, sir. I'm good.
But you had to give to it.
I had to give it.
You had to give it that plate and everything on it.
But you know what, Reginald? When I think about Brandon, what Brandon said, I think about you. This is something that you did. You stepped on her side of the fence and you saw things from her perspective, where she was coming from, without internalizing it and making it about you. And you did what you said. You were patient and still loving toward her, and still willing
right.
to do it. And she got to this point.
Yeah, she got to this point where she was like, okay,
that's what I'm saying.
I ain't gonna do it no more.
And you got to that point where you could receive it. And so a lot of times, that it's internalized, and it's like, oh, so you just a B, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You don't want no man to do nothing for you, whatever. I'm out. But when we talk about real empathy and patience and being able to step on her side of the fence and see it, through her eyes, and understand why she is the way she is. We're talking about understanding, and still be willing.
So with you guys, with both of you guys, and both of you guys can chime in on this one. Both of you guys with a daughter, you Detrail with daughters, no sons. What I know what my conversation and Bernetta and I, we have a blended family. She had boys, so no girls on her end. I know what my conversation as a man was with my daughter. What is your conversation? What was your conversation? And as your daughters have transitioned to adulthood, what is that conversation? What the conversations that you are having as it pertains to relationships and standards and boundaries? What does that conversation sound like?
With my daughters, the conversation now is heavily as let him be a man, especially if he wants to serve you, if he wants to open a door for you, if he wants to carry that heavy box for you, allow him to do it. You don't have to do everything to prove who you are in the relationship, to prove what you can do in the relationship. I talk a lot about that because, as I said, on the other side, what I've showed them, what they've seen from me a lot of the ways, is that woman who can handle everything, who can do everything, who can get everything undone, and she can do it herself. And sure, you can. But when you have someone who, again, aligns with your values, is willing to walk with you, and is willing to serve you, if you will, to give unto you, receive it. Allow them to do it. Let them be it. It's okay to sit and be served. So I've really had to talk to them a lot about how to receive love, how to receive respect, how to receive honor. Because we talk about giving it a lot and serving and giving, but I've had to really have a lot of conversation about how to receive that. How to really receive it.
So Miranda, the same question for you, and what's so intriguing about these answers that both of you guys are giving, besides the youngest daughter that Detrail has, all of them are professionals. And so Miranda, as we know, your daughter is a professional as well. What's that conversation like?
So I won't tell her age because she's a teacher, but she is an adult woman, and she doesn't have any children. So I am sharing with her, again, as I said earlier, that it's okay. It's okay to have a single season. She knows about, she was taught that it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. So with any relationship that you're in, it's nice to be nice, to not be nasty. So I'm sharing with her that your single life is it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to rush. You don't have to compromise just because everyone else is, having babies. I remember I remember her god sister saying, "Girl, having babies is overrated. You need to make sure you wait. You wait to have babies. Wait to have babies because this is overrated." Right. So I'm sharing with her, it doesn't matter that you see, a lot of your friends having babies and all of that. Just slow down. There is no rush. There's plenty of time. You have more time ahead of you than you have behind you. So just to slow down, and it's okay to be in your single season. You don't have anything to rush. So definitely you don't have to compromise. But I'm sure she's, meeting different people and all of that, which is great, which she should meet people, because I don't want, sometimes we're so in a rush, because I got married young. We're so in a rush to have the married status. And when you get married, then you have to put that work in. And the person may not even have the same values as you. So I'm teaching her to learn from your mom. Learn from, if I'm telling you this is what happened, and I'm very transparent with my daughter about my relationships. This is how this transpired, and this is why I'm where I am now. So you don't have to necessarily rush anything just because you want to keep up with what's going on in the culture, which is, hey, everybody, a lot of people want to have babies. By now, culturally, she should have had a baby by now, but there's no rush. She should be married by now, but there's literally no rush.
Right.
Absolutely.
Bishop says sometimes a woman or even a man can be untaught or wounded, and these things breed distrust.
Yes.
We must win the trust of our partner when there is distrust.
You got to win it.
Yeah, you got to win it.
You definitely do.
That takes work.
Yeah.
That takes
Absolutely.
One thing that my husband tells our sons often is to be patient with any woman that you meet, because 9 times out of 10, they're going to be experience some type of foolishness or something that's going to make them behave the way that they are. And so he does communicate to them to be patient, be kind, be kind to her. Now, not to accept abuse, not to, and to accept certain behaviors that you shouldn't, but to go in and be understanding. Be patient about some of the things that they may have gone through.
It's like if just say I'm like you are a veteran, so you were in the army. So there's certain things that you went through in the army that maybe a civilian doesn't go through. So I'm trying to explain to them is, when you meet a woman, have the expectation already that they may have already gone through some foolishness. Or they may have already gone through some caused by some dudes that look like me, So go in with and have that patience and be patient. Don't take things personal. One of the things that I had to learn, and even in our relationship as we were growing together, is not to take things personally, and that took work on my part, because I thought that you were lashing out because it was me, or you was doing this because it was me, and then I had to learn that, wait a minute, hold on. She's in certain ways, in certain positions, you have been almost conditioned to respond a certain way. Yeah. And so it's not personal, it's just what your experiences were. And so and again, it led me to be more patient. More patient.
Hey, can I ask a quick question?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Okay, so what do you all think about, I definitely, I totally agree with, when you love a person, patience, absolutely. What do you all think about, when someone has been so, they're now this is who they become. Almost, they become this bitter person. And you're saying, hey, baby, I really want to encourage you to get some help for that, because, every time you look around, you're being very defensive. You're acting as if, you don't want me to help. How long do you stay to be patient with someone who may be just bitter, doesn't want to trust anyone? Okay, every time you look around, she's accusing you of cheating, or she's accusing you of this. How long do you be patient with someone who this is what they like? This. I like being bitter. I'm not going to tell you I like being bitter, but I like being bitter because I'm showing you that I don't want to change. So if you all can help us with that.
So I say that everyone needs to have their own barometer, right? Their own measuring on how long I'm willing to stay in this. Like, I've identified this, I've communicated this with you. We have made that discussion. And even though I want to see you healed, I want to see you move on, I may not be the one to help you with that. Right. And so I think that everyone has their barometer. Everyone has their measuring. Everyone has their limit. But I think that sometimes we stay past that limit because we care about the person. We may like the relationship. We have history. And so I think that sometimes we stay in it way too long. But I think that it's okay to say, you know what? I want you to get better. I really value you as a person. But I can't suffer along with you. And I think that, we have only that person can say when enough is enough. But I think that they need to be able to value themselves enough to know that when something is damaging me, when something is hurting me, if it's not getting any better, if I'm unhappy, no matter how much I want that person to get better, I can't continue to subject myself to that. So I think that you need to know when enough is enough and not overstay longer than you should.
Me personally.
Have you ever heard the strawberry letter? Have you ever heard the strawberry letter on Steve Harvey? And when she's reading, she gives her take, and then she turns it. Okay, Steve, he's the Steve on this one. So I give my answer first, and then he gives his.
Me personally, I ain't finna stay there. I ain't finna stay that long. No. This is what I agree with you. What you just said, but this is the key to that. That I'm telling you. Hear me what I tell you. The key to that is a person being 100% honest with what that level, what that barometer is, with that moment, being 100% honest and saying, this is my limit, this is my time. I always use this example when we're faced with certain questions of that are similar like that. You told me when we got together, I said, baby, I want to get married because I want this taken care of. I want to do this. I want to do this. Looked at my face and said, well, how long will you think that's going to take you? I said, well, about 5 years and I'm going to be straight. You said, well, because I'm not going to be a girl. I'm not going to be a long-term girlfriend. I said, so what are you talking about? You said, my limit is 2 years. And guess what I did?
We got married.
I sped up on stuff. I started speeding up the stuff that I was going to stretch out. I was like, now let me take care of this now. Let me go ahead and take care of this now. Why? Because I knew the blessing you would be in my life. And I could not let that blessing walk away. I could not let it walk away only because I felt some kind of way about what I could perceive to have my stuff together. And here's the tripped out part about it. When I said yes, and I said, okay, let's do this, God started opening doors and things start happening. And I tell people all the time that there are some places that I know I would not have gone, and there's some doors that I know that would not have opened if I did not marry you. And so in hindsight, when I look at that, I'm like, yes, made the right decision. You know what I'm saying? Because if I had waited 5 years and then let you walk on my life, then I was like, oh my God. Now I'm fighting gorillas all the time. I'm in a relationship with people trying to fight me and throw pots and pans at me when I could have been married to you. So I say be 100% honest with if you say that this is going to be it, then be honest with yourself and stick to it. Because once a man starts realizing that you a waver and you will back up and you will adjust, then sometimes we get comfortable in that and we continue to keep dragging you along and dragging you along and dragging you along. So if I say I'm gonna give you a couple years to get your bitterness in order, I gotta be willing to walk away if that time happens and you haven't dealt with that. I'm gonna encourage you to get some counseling, to get some help.
And go with maybe even go.
I may even go with you. But if I say this is my limit, I gotta stick to it. I gotta stick to it, and I gotta be honest. I gotta be.
And I think that, Miranda, a lot of people are not sticking to it and being honest. Like they move the measuring. So if I say I'm gonna give you 6 months, then I move it to a year.
Then I move it to
a year and a half.
Then I move it to 2 years.
Then I move it to 2 years.
Next thing you know, it's 10 years.
Hoping that things get better. So I'm totally with Reginald. Is that you need to have your timeline and stick to it.
But my question then, guys, to you guys is how does that minimize if just using us as an example, if I said, you know what, I'm sticking to my 5 years, you're saying 2 years, would that have minimized her time frame or her boundaries or her non-negotiables? Would that have minimized that if I had said no, I'm gonna stick to these 5 years? Or do you say, okay, I made the right decision? Well, I know I made the right decision, but if I did not make that decision, would I have been wrong, or would I have been in a place where will I have been judged because I said 5 years and you said 2 years? Who's right and who's wrong in that? When the lady has her non-negotiables and the man has his non-negotiables, or he has her boundaries, she has her boundaries. We like each other. We see ourselves together, but this is yours, this is mine. Where is the middle ground? Where's the middle ground? And how do we get to the middle ground?
Is there a right or wrong? Is there a right or wrong? And I think it's about making a decision on what is negotiable and what isn't.
Yeah.
What isn't?
Yeah.
I don't know that there's a right or wrong.
Earlier is that if the values don't align.
Right.
Miranda said that earlier. Is that it
value what I value?
Yeah, I don't think it's a question of right or wrong, but do our values align?
Yeah. Because
as it relates to this.
Yeah. I noticed that so many people stay in relationships and choose not to become better. So it's like, okay, yeah, we're in a relationship. Hey, I'm in a relationship, but it's not healthy.
Right.
So
Right. You in one, but it ain't healthy.
Right.
That's like being in a Bentley, but it don't go nowhere. You got a Bentley, but you can't work it up.
Right.
What you doing? You just out there just sitting in the Bentley, chilling in the driveway.
Exactly.
Ain't going nowhere. Listen, Bishop says making progress is essential. And you have to be honest. He says dealing with the bitterness is essential. Within the context of bitterness, wrong behaviors, and if the person is willing to get help and is making progress, then that's awesome. So you got to be willing. The willingness has to be in you. I got to be willing to meet you. I got to be willing to compromise with you. And compromise is another show altogether. I got to be willing to hear your heart. I got to be willing to say, you know what? I think there's a middle ground. I think we can make this work.
Right.
Go ahead.
Right. Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Guys, we are at like an hour and a half in, and
yes.
I promised that it was going to be an hour. Listen, guys, we thank you so much for hanging in there with us. I know that we went over time. This conversation was so good. We could not turn it loose. The chats have been lit. Yeah. I know that we could not get to everyone's comments. Thank you so much for participating and to being interactive with us. We thank you so very much. We have some of the best Facebook Live Sweet Spot family.
Yeah.
We never call them viewers. This is our family. Y'all join us. There are some guys, we have been doing this now for almost 3 years, a little over 3 years now. And we have some that have been rocking with us for 3 years. So we thank you so much. For those that joined us for the very first time, we hope that this will not be the last time.
Absolutely.
If you would like to contact us for any reason.
Whoa. You too fast. You too fast. Slow down. Listen, at the end of every show, we take the last 5 minutes, and then we have multiple guests, 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes per guest. And what we like to have the Queen's Corner, the King's Corner. And so this is the we have the ladies edition. So it's all about the Queen's Corner. And so what the Queen's Corner is that we allow you to whatever has been on your heart. It doesn't necessarily have to be pertaining to the show, the title of the show, but whatever has been on your heart, whatever the topic is, whatever you've been burning on you, we give you time to express that. So it doesn't have to be about gender roles and chivalry and all that, but whatever is on your heart, we would like for you to express it. And this is dedicated and directed strictly towards the young ladies who are watching, whether they're married, single, whatever their status is. And we give you guys time to speak into them. So we'll start with you, Detrell. This is your time on the Queen's Corner. What's on your heart?
The thing that is ringing on my heart is know thyself. Spend time with yourself. Observe yourself. Know what you want. Know it. I see so many women and so many people who don't take time to know themselves. They never spend that time alone, observing their own thoughts, understanding why am I the way I am? Why do I do the things that I do? The more you spend that time knowing yourself, the better your relationship with everyone will be. Know thyself and take the time to do it.
Thank you. That is powerful. Thank you. Know thyself. Thank you. Miranda, the Queen's Corner. What's on your heart, ma'am?
Okay, so I love what Mr. Trail just said, to know thyself. I love that. Hey, Queens, I want to encourage you to, and this goes both ways. So I don't want it to appear that I'm only talking to the women, because I'm going to address the gentlemen as well. It's as I said earlier, my mom taught me, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. Let's something that Bishop said yesterday from the pulpit. He had saw a video, and the video said, "Wives, you're too busy loving your husbands when your husbands really want to be respected." So I want to just share in the Queen's Corner right now that while the gentlemen are showing chivalry to us, and while they're being nice to us, let's also honor them by saying thank you, by showing them how much we appreciate them for being kings. And likewise for the distinguished gentlemen that's out there. Let's show the gentlemen, show us as queens how valuable we are. We are some of the most powerful species. Like, oh my gosh. So let's show the women as well that they're valued, that they're honored, and mutually respect one another.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Powerful. Thank you.
This has been such a wonderful show. Yes. Thank you, ladies, so much for your authenticity, for your transparency, for your openness, and for your willingness to share of yourself on today. So thank you so very much for everything that you added to tonight. It was definitely valued, and it was much needed.
I want to do a part two.
Yeah. And we may have a panel of men and women on together. We're not sure yet. We're still kind of tossing that up. But if we'll reach out to you to see if you're willing to. Yeah. We may have a part 3, so we're not sure. People are asking. So this topic is a hot topic. And we will kind of let you know with that though. Yeah. So we thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We would love to invite you to reach out to us. and to find out what S&S Coaching Services is. So you can visit our website at www.snscoachingservices.com. Again, that is www.snscoachingservices.com, where you can get couples coaching as well as individual coaching. Also, if you would like to email us for any particular reason, if you would like to see more content, or you would like to give suggestions of content, or you would like to just reach out to us for our services, our email is info@snscoachingservices.com. That is info@snscoachingservices.com. Okay. And also Reginald's book. He has his book that he has written. And the name of the book is Dear Son, Letters of Love, Revelation, and Affirmations. You can get a copy of that book by visiting our website, which we showed earlier.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is a book of compiled letters for one of our sons who was going to the military. And I was trying to figure out how could I be a voice in his ears even when he's not around. And I began to take topics and subjects that I wanted to have conversations with him with, that I did not get a chance to have conversations with him with. And I wrote letters and I sent them and I put them in the book and sent him the book. I don't even know if he's even read the whole book yet, but that's okay. This is a book and it is a catalyst for conversations with the young men and young women.
Absolutely. And last but not least, join us next week, where we will begin the series, The 5 Stages of Relationships. Which one are you in? And that will begin on next week on June 27th. Again, live.
Girl, you sound like a commercial.
All right.
Ladies, we want you guys to stick around. Please do not leave just yet. Y'all stick around. Y'all hold tight for a second.
Commercial.
Right. Y'all stick around and hold tight. We appreciate you guys for joining us. Thank you guys again. If this is your first time
for having us on the show, thank you so much.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Y'all.
Kecia said we definitely need a part 2.
Absolutely. They saying part 3 is good. Everybody wants a part, so y'all hold tight. We're gonna find out a date, and then we're gonna come back. We're gonna come back and do it again. Thank you guys. Thank everybody for joining us. If you're watching the replay, please #replay. Let us know you're watching the replay, so when we get back on and see that you're on and you're watching, we can interact with you and have conversations.
And if there any value to this, please share. Please share this video with others. Encourage them to watch. We are definitely trying to increase our views, so please share the video and tag others so they could actually go back and watch.
Absolutely, man. Y'all have a great week. Intentionally, all things relational. Be intentional in building a strong foundation in your relationship, regardless of what relationship it is. I'm Reginald P.M. Sweet.
And I am Bernetta Sweet.
We are the Sweets.
And this has been the sweet spot.
Helping couples find
the sweet spot in their relationship.
Y'all have a good night.